Yeah, so you are welcome to this tutorial point. Once again, I have always told you to subscribe to the channel so that anytime we upload a new video, you quickly get the notification. And so today, we want to talk about CSS pointers or selectors and their syntaxes. And so when we talk about CSS selectors, basically we have 4 of them, but we can have others like pseudo selectors and the rest. But we just want to limit ourselves to these 4. So we have the element selector, the grouping selectors, class selector, and the ID selector. So let's check the syntax of it. And so let me make this picture big so that you get a syntax. So this is the syntax of the CSS selectors. And so we have the pre here to be the preserve tag, and that one is a pointer, or we say a selector. And from the curly bracket here up to where it is closed here, we call it what? Declaration block. And you can have a lot of declarations in a declaration block. And so you could see that we have declaration 1, declaration 2, and we have the property, the value, and others. So this is just the syntax of the CSS selectors. And so I would want us to explore, or let's say we put it in practice. And so making it pragmatic, let's launch our text editors. I use Sublime Text. Maybe you are also going to use something different. And so let me launch my Sublime Text. I think I already have it here. It's already here, and I want to get a new file. So I come here, open a new file, and then I want to make sure that we are in the HTML syntax. And so I select the HTML. Okay. And so let me get the structure by typing HTML and hit tab. And so my title is CSS Selectors slash, maybe you could say selectors or pointers, and then syntaxes. So they are syntax. Okay, so this is my title, and I would have this as a heading. So I just want to copy it. And so let's generate some of the elements. So I want to have an h1, and so I paste it here. And then I want to have a p tag. So using the lorem keyword, and then you hit enter, you generate some text. I want to use the pre keyword. Using the lorems 2, I generate some text. And so I want to use h2 to do something different. So I just want to say moving forward, and then I want to generate some text too. So I still want to use the p tag. Okay, this is preserve, and then moving forward, I think that is okay. So let's save it, and then come to our browser and then display it and see how it looks. Alright, and see how it looks. So this is the folder of which it is in. So I open that, and it's here. This is what we have here. So now let's go and then begin with the styling. So we are going to start with the element selector. And so if you check h1, p, preserve, h2, these are what? Element selectors. Okay, so whenever you want to do styling in HTML and we talk about selectors, you are either using the internal styling or the external styling. And so using the internal styling, you need to get a style tag. So the style tag, you can either put it here or where it is. It is all allowed. Okay, so we want to do the CSS styling, the element selector. We want to work on the element selector. So I want to give each one a style. So each one, let's say I want to give it a color. I want to give it red, and then I want to give the P to the P tag to, let's say, color red, and then I want to give the preserve tag to color red, and then also same thing applies. I want to give dh2 to color red, and then maybe I want to add a font size. Maybe maybe I want to give it 30 pixels. So I want the font size of 30 pixels to run through all the styling, all the decoration blocks. So I just have to paste it here. And I just have to paste it here. So what this means is that if I refresh, all my elements on the web page are going to be red, and then they'll all bear the font size of what? 30 pixels. That is what it means here. Okay, so I want to refresh my web page. Let's see. So this is the current state of the web page. So as I refresh, you could see that it has taken effect. I've given it the same color, and then the font to the same. But the reason why this one is like this is because it has a default font size. That is why you are seeing the H1 and the H2 to be that bigger. Nevertheless, you can reduce it. Okay, so this is what we call the element. This is what we call the element what? The element this is what we call the element selector. Kind of just want to, I'm not commenting it out because it's not going to display. I just want to, put it there, but let me do a proper comment. Let me see. So what is my asterisk keyword? So I just want to comment it out. So let me use the asterisk keyword so that I could comment it out. Yeah, so now this is what we call the element selector. All right, so we are moving forward to the grouping selectors. So the reason why I made the element selectors to bear the same color and the same font size is that I want to use that opportunity to talk about the grouping selectors so that you can understand it properly. But you can have different styles for them. It's not always automatic that they should bear the same style. So maybe I want to give this one green. So you realize that one, the color will be green. So like I said, this one has changed to green. But the reason why I gave them the same style is that I want to use the opportunity to explore on the grouping style so that you can get it proper. Okay, so they are all right. they are all red and they are all red. Alright, so let's talk about the grouping style. So we are saying that a situation whereby you have a lot of elements and you want to give them the same style or a uniform style. Would you continue to be styling the elements one by one individually? The answer is no, and that is how come the grouping selectors. So the grouping selectors is actually saying that you have a group of elements that you want to give them a uniform style, and so you don't do them individually. You can group them and give them that style at once, unlike doing it like the way I have done it. So this is how the grouping selectors is being done. So let's say I want to give h1. So the grouping selector, so we have the h1, h2, and then the p, and we have the preserve tag. I want to give all these ones the same what style. Instead of doing it individually like this, I could just say color, and then maybe I want to give the color to be maroon, and then I save it. And then let's say I want the font color to the font size to change to, let's say, 25 pixels. Then I save. Then I save it. And so just to remind you that this is what the grouping this is the grouping selectors. Okay, so I save it, come to the website and refresh it. Alright, so you see the color have changed. To maroon. And so let me change the color so that you can see, because the color appears to be somehow black or something, so it's not too visible. And so let me change the color to say orange, and let me see if orange will not be bad. Let me change the color to orange, and then I refresh. So you see everything has changed to what? Orange. You see, so this one is, you use this one when you want to give the elements, you use this one when you want to give the elements different style. But if you have elements that you want to give them a uniform style, you use what we call the grouping what? Selectors, which is this one, so that you can reserve some space, time, and energy. Okay, so moving forward, we want to talk about the class selector and the ID selector. So first of all, let's talk about the ID selector. Okay, so I want to give the H1 an ID of, say, about, and then the P here, I'm also gonna give it an ID, say, bishop, and then the pre-selector an ID of okay, I could use shuffle, and then the H here ID I could use, and then the last one here ID, I want to say H, could just give ITE3A. Alright, so these are IDs I have generated and I want to use them. And IDs are unique selectors. They are very, very unique. So IDs are very unique, and then so I want to work on them, and so let's start to put it into practice. So whenever you want to work using an ID, you use the hash keyword. So I want to delete these ones. You use the hash keyword. So I want to use the hash keyword, and I want to select the heading. So I say about, and I open my curly bracket. So I want to give it a background color. So giving it a background color, I just say red. I say red, and I could give it a border of dotted black, let's say 5 pixels, and then I save that. So realize that if I go to the web page and refresh, this one will take effect. So this is what I got using the ID selector. Okay, I can also select this element and give it what? Different style. So the reason why we use ID is that if you have a lot of elements, let's say you have a lot of p tags in your design, you can give them different styles with different IDs. So you see the preserve tag here. I have my ID here to be what? Shuffle, and I have another one to be ITE3A. So you see that the IDs are different. Meanwhile, the element happens to be the same. But once you use the ID to style it, it's going to give you different styles. That is why we use ID. We say that they are what? Unique selectors. So that is the first ID for the heading has taken effect, and then we want to use the other one. So bishop as an ID. Then I open my curly brackets, and then I want to transform the text to be only uppercase. So I save that, and I want to make the color to be gold. Then I save that. You come refresh your web page, and you see everything has been transformed to uppercase, and the color is gold. Okay, I'm interested in the preserve tag because we have 2 preserve tags and then 2 different IDs, so that we see the effect of it. So now the preserve tag, the ID is, the first one is shuffle, and so shuffle. Then I want to give it a color that's supposed to be red, and then text transformation to be lowercase, and I want to give it font size as 39 pixels, and then I save it, and I come here and refresh it. So this is what I have for the p tag that says that bishop, or was it shuffle? Let me check. Yeah, that was for shuffle. And then the other preserve tag the other preserve tag, which is ITE3A, and I open, and I want the background color to be red, and I want the color of it. So the background color is the background color, and the color is the text. So I want the text to be white, and the font size to be 20 pixel, and I want that one to be what? Uppercase. So text transform, I want it what? Uppercase. So you see that we have given a different style. Meanwhile, they are the same element. We have the preserve here and the preserve here, but because of the ID, we have been able to give them what? Different style. If it hasn't been for the ID, it was not going to be successful giving them different style using the element itself. Okay, so this is what I got for that one too. So that is for the ID selectors. But one other thing I need to touch on is that with the ID, you can also use it for the grouping selectors. So all you need to do is that you just do it this way. All you need to do is you just group them like we did for the first ones, and then you are good to go. So I quickly want to do that, so just follow with me. So I have about then I have Bishop, then I have Shuffle, and then I have ITE3A, yeah, ITE3A. Alright, and so I open my curly bracket, and then I want to give them a uniform style. So background color red, and then color, not background color again, and then color to be white, and then maybe text transformation, all of them should be uppercase, and maybe the font size, all of them should be 20 pixel. Alright, then I save this, and I come to my website. All the content on the web page, everything that has been highlighted will be given a uniform style because we have grouped all the ID selectors. So let me refresh the page, and you see they have taken the same format. So that is the power of what? Grouping selectors. Whenever you want to give a group of elements a uniform style. So moving forward, we are just ending soon, and I want to talk about the class selector. So the class selector, so I just want to change the ID here to be class. I change the ID here to be class. Oh no, not that one. I change the ID here to be class. I change the ID here to be class, and the ID here as class, and my ID here as class. Okay, and so I've changed them to what? Classes. And whenever you are going to use a class to style, you use the the point, just like full stop. The other one, the id is what? The hash keyword, and then the class is what? Point. So let me save this and run, and let's see. Yeah, now let's see this one. What I have highlighted here took effect. Let me give you the highlight very well so that you get it. What I have highlighted took effect, but this one did not take effect in classes. And so that is it for the classes. So the classes, we use a period before the name of the class. You open your curly bracket, that is the declaration block, and then you put your declarations inside the block as we did for the id. And we can also have it in the form of grouping selector. So you just change the hash to a period. You change the hash to a period, and then you save it. And then you run. Once you save it and you run, yeah, it has taken effect already. So maybe if you want to change the color, let me change the color to red so that we see the effect clear. So let me change the color to red. So I refresh. You see the grouping class selectors has also taken effect. But you may ask, you see here, the individual class selector or selectors were here. They were having a different style. They have different style altogether. But once I grouped them here, the grouping style overrides the individual style. It's not because they are grouped, but it's because of where they are being placed. So this one is right, it is down, it is below the individual selectors. That is why it was able to override it. So let me cut this and let it come before the individual. Right now, if I save and run, this one will take effect. The individual selectors will take effect because it is right. So you see, the individual selector has taken effect. So it is sometimes based on where it is placed. If it is at the bottom of it, it is powerful than the one that is at the top. And so if they are bearing the same style, or if they are the same elements, it will quickly override it. And so that is how it is. So the only time this one can take effect is either it is at the bottom, it comes before this one, the individual, or maybe you don't have the individual class selected. So if I delete this one and save, and then I come and refresh here, then you see that it has taken effect. So I will spend time and then give you a tutorial of the powers of CSS styling, as at when a particular style is powerful than the other, like it's able to override it. So I will spend time and then take you through that one in the next tutorial. I've always told you that don't forget to subscribe to the channel so that anytime we upload a new video, you quickly get the notification. So see you in the next video, and leave your comment below so that we can develop and grow based on your comment that you leave. Alright, if you see any problem with the tutorial, quickly leave it at the comment section. See you in the next tutorial.